My name is Jeff and I work for Montana Food Bank Network. And I'm here to tell you a little bit more about one of the most popular and fastest growing programs that we have here at MFBN, and that's the Backpack Program. It's a school-based program that's designed to reach chronically hungry children throughout our state. Not even throughout our state, actually throughout the whole country. The mission of the Backpack Program is to help alleviate childhood hunger by providing them with nutritious, easy-to-prepare food when other resources aren't available. Since we're talking about students here, what that means is that when they're out of school. Most schools now have free and reduced price school lunch and breakfast, but what about when they go home? Particularly on the weekends, that's a pretty big stretch of time where they're not sure where their next meal might be coming from. Enter the Backpack Program. A little bit of history. Backpack started in 1995 in Little Rock, Arkansas, and very quickly expanded around that area, and then in 2006 became a fully recognized program of Feeding America, who's the national hunger fighting organization. And it expanded even more quickly once it was adopted by Feeding America, and currently more than 150 member food banks of Feeding America operate active backpack programs. Those programs are at more than 5,000 schools around the country and distribute more than 250,000 bags to students each year. 250,000 students receive benefits from the Backpack Program. That's a huge impact. In Montana, the program started in 2008 at DeSmet School here in Missoula. And it pretty quickly ramped up to the other schools in the area, and then we expanded even further to the point that right now we have backpack sites at more than 60 different schools in 24 communities around the state. We still have a little bit further to go, but that's a really good start. It's not actually a backpack that they get. What they get is a large Ziploc bag that's designed to fit nicely inside of their backpack, either when they're in class or at the end of the day on Friday before they go home for the weekend. Each one of these little bags has 2 entrees, 2 cereals, a shelf-stable milk, 2 snacks, and 2 100% fruit juice. So it's designed to provide a student with enough food for 2 meals and 1 snack on Saturday and Sunday. If it's a long weekend or a holiday, we generally like to send home an extra bag to make sure that they've got a little bit more of a buffer to get them through to when they're back in school and getting those school meals. All of the food is reviewed by a registered dietitian, and it's designed for the kids to be able to prepare themselves, since we're not quite sure what resources they have at home. Unfortunately, childhood hunger is actually a problem in Montana. 1 in 5 children in Montana is at risk of food insecurity. Food insecurity means that they're not quite sure where they're going to be getting their next meal. It's a very up in the air sort of situation, and they don't know all the time if they're going to be having dinner. That's who we're trying to reach, are these chronically hungry children. The longer somebody is food insecure, the greater risk they have of actually developing hunger, which is, of course, the highest form of food insecurity, where it leads to physical symptoms such as sickness or even malnutrition. It's the total lack of food. Backpack is there to make sure that they don't get to that point. That's the whole idea. Unfortunately, as I said, 1 in 5 children in Montana are food insecure. And that corresponds with just under 20% of children in Montana are in poverty. And even worse, just under half of all the households that participate in SNAP, formerly known as the food stamp program, in Montana, are households with children. Half of those households have children. It's not a good situation. 1 in 7 adults in Montana is food insecure. So to have a higher ratio of children is a very disturbing situation, and that's where Backpack and other school-based programs come in, is to help keep it that way and help those students before they grow up and can continue the cycle. As I said earlier, Backpack is designed to reach chronically hungry children. It's a referral-based program for that reason. It relies on school staff, teachers, counselors, principals, food service workers to refer individual students to the Backpack Program. That's one of its strengths, is targeting those kids that need it the most. How do they do that? Well, through a variety of symptoms that they observe with these students. Physical appearance, thinness, or extreme obesity can be signs of chronic hunger. That might seem counterintuitive, except for food insecure people and those in poverty are more likely to have to substitute calorie-rich foods rather than healthy, nutritious foods just to fill up their bellies. And also they're more likely to go longer periods without eating and then binge on those calorie-rich foods. And that cycle can lead to obesity or thinness if they're not getting enough when they have those binges. As well as dry, cracked lips, red, puffy skin can also be a physical symptom of chronic hunger. School performance, of course, that's one of the big reasons the backpack program has been growing. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence. A lot of teachers have seen school performance improve once the kids can focus more on school rather than their hunger. Before they start getting the backpack or before they start receiving school meals, there's a lack of attention. Math and reading scores aren't as high for hungry children, and they just kind of don't really think more about school because they can't concentrate. Home environment is also something that once you start speaking to these students as part of the referral process, you learn more about why they might be chronically hungry. It could be a loss of household income, a medical bill that came out of nowhere. It could be a variety of forms of instability. If they cook their own food a lot of the time, or there's a sibling that does it, that's another sign of a home environment that might have hunger in it. Behavioral traits are probably the most easily observed symptom of chronic hunger. If Monday morning comes and you see a student rushing that breakfast line, the odds are that they didn't eat a whole lot over that weekend. If you see them asking their friends and other students for excess food or something out of their lunch, that's another sign. If they're always asking when the next meal or snack, if that's a regular thing, then the odds are that that student might be hungry. And then that's where they might need the backpack program. If you're not sure if there's a need in your community, you can conduct what's called a community needs assessment, the purpose of which is to identify the prevalence of childhood hunger and take steps to improve it, to reach those kids. And that's a matter of talking with schools. If you have an emergency food provider, someone who's a food pantry or a soup kitchen, ask them, talk with teachers, and try to get an idea of how many students might be suffering and if you might be able to get a program started to help alleviate that. Backpack is just one program we have at our disposal. There's also school pantries and a variety of other ways that you can reach these students. But the first thing you have to do is identify the need, and that's where the needs assessment comes in. Quite a few places in Montana have already conducted their own needs assessment and started backpack. These dark blue stars are established programs, and then the lighter blue stars are brand new programs or programs that are working on getting going right now. So you can see there are some gaps in there, and we're working hard to fill those. We're working with those communities, trying to identify the need and find the best way to reach those hungry students. And that's where Montana Food Bank Network comes in. If you think that there might be a need in your community, if you see a lot of students that might be suffering, contact Stephanie, contact myself, and we can help you ask those questions and get those answers you need to determine if a backpack program might be the right fit for your community, if it's needed, and what steps you can take to get it going. So feel free to contact us if you have any questions or if there's anything we can do to help. Thank you.